Few things can raise spirits and bring a team together the way a benches clearing scrum is capable of. Well, that's exactly what we got in the second game of the Phillies versus Tampa Bay Rays, leading to the sweep that the Phillies did produce, ultimately increasing themselves to their best record all season. I want to break down exactly what I think went right for this Phillies team, the tangible strides forward that I think, and some notable storylines that I think could matter come playoff time that were discovered in that series, as well as highlight what specifically I thought that scrum meant to this team as a whole. Now, before I dive fully into things, do want to remind you guys to make sure you continue smashing that subscribe button. That at this point in time, 85% of you guys viewing these videos have not subscribed to the channel just yet. We want to get this Phillies Digest family over 1,000 subscribers before Red October strikes, so need your guys' help getting to that number there. Appreciate each and every one of you guys tuning in as always. Now, to get to the topic of today, I want to start off by talking about that scrum as a whole. I'll start by pulling up the picture that we do have of it. Pretty wild when watching everything go down. Of course, Bryce Harper on second, Nick Castellanos at the plate, and he does get beamed by a pitch. And to pull up the full exact scale of where this pitch came in at, do want to just highlight Edwin Ucita. You can see kind of the pitch chart here that of all these sinkers that he has thrown this season, which two right-handed batters, and this is specifically was acknowledged as a sinker according to the pitch clock when things went in. You can see all of them right around the plate, and then just one straggler that was drilled directly into Nick Castellanos' ribcage there. Now, we did get a suspension for Ucita here, that he was suspended 3 games following the altercation, as well as the Rays manager catching a 1-game suspension. It's pretty standard practice when there is a situation like that. I think there's no doubt in my mind that this was intentional, which is why the MLB is coming down on it. That is clearly the situation. He checked into a tie ball game at 4-4. He's been very good for the length of the season. Had a 0.75 ERA on the year entering that appearance, and things went downhill fast. So there was Bryce Harper ripping doubles. There was home runs. The Phillies were pouring things on and extended the lead to 94 before he ultimately decided to take things out on Nick Castellanos' ribcage. And it does feel like it's always Casty, man. He's always the one in the middle of it. Even in last night's game, him getting hit by a pitch in the 9th once again, and the umpire very calmly walking him down that first base path. I do love it. I do love that he is kind of that guy. And of course, it was Bryce Harper having his back, taking off from second base when all this went down. And they asked Bryce a little bit about it after the game, and he said that he would have fought the Tampa Bay pitcher Edwin Ucita if he had turned around. Quote, "I don't want to be a loser and come up from behind him. If he's going to turn around, then all right, let's go. That's not the game that we play. Man, it shouldn't be. Guys throw too hard nowadays. You're getting mad because a guy hits a homer off you, or you blow the lead. Walk the guy and come out of the game." That situation, that whole thing just really fired me up, really upset me. Just not something that you should accept as Major League Baseball. So a lot that I like from Bryce here. For starters, it is cool that, say what you want about the guy, but he's ready to ride for his boys 10 times out of 10. That he was the fastest man to the mound there. And I am glad that he did not take the cheap shot, pull a nice Nikola Jokic on Markieff Morris, where you're just knocking a guy out from behind and doing some serious damage. That is kind of a loser move, so glad that he did not do that. But Bryce made it loud and clear that he wanted the smoke, that he was in the air, hey, 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 trying to get the attention. It ultimately did not happen, and probably for the better that there was not a full scrap. At the end of the day, there was no real altercation that did occur. A lot of pushing and shoving, a lot of, relievers sprinting their way all the way from out in the bullpen to get their exercise for the day, but ultimately not much, I guess, tension on the field once things did settle down. It was a fairly low-key skirmish once things did break out, but I do think the message that it sends means more. That it was Bryce Harper sticking up for his teammate. They had a nice little dap-up handshake and kind of point to each other following the inning that I do think meant something, and that's something that I think means something to this Phillies team overall. We do know the success that they're having on the field, that they are now 30 games over 500. That is the first time since September of 2011 that they have reached those heights as a team. And we are seeing some success from guys that need to. My number one takeaway from this series, Jose Alvarado might be back. And that is a huge deal to this Phillies bullpen. He shut the door. He's had 3 consecutive 1-2-3 innings, including in last night's game in the finale of the series, in which he looked dominant. That was the first time that I've seen that from Jose Alvarado in quite a few months. That there's been control issues. We know that he did have to leave briefly for the family situation. Hopefully things are completely handled over there. And that very well could have been something that was weighing on his mind leading up to things. That we don't know what really went down in that situation, nor do we need to. That is a private thing. But he does seem back with renewed focus. And that's a great thing for this Phillies team. The power arm that he possesses, and a guy that very clearly fits the identity of this Phillies team. It matters when he's on, locked in, and has a chance to do his thing and deliver. So very excited that we're seeing Jose Alvarado back. And on the other hand, I do want to bring up Bryce Harper here. That we do know that he has not been the ultimately ended up being ruled a double there. It feels like he's close. And to me, I still take that as progress. That no, he's not one of the best hitters in the MLB if he is not hitting home runs to the extent that he was. But the dude, which he's calling his little league swing because of the elbow and wrist issues that he's dealing with, is still playing some really good baseball. That he's ripping doubles to the corner, sending one in gappers. He's having to do it a little bit of a different way, but I am kind of, I guess, more optimistic than I have been about him returning to full form when it matters most. That we know that he's a playoff riser, that if his body will let him, Bryce Harper will be ready to deliver when the moment matters most for this Phillies team. And I'm feeling more optimistic that that could be possible based on the way that he is gutting things through. Now, again, it's not overly promising that we're still having the situation in which he's grabbing his wrist, grabbing his elbow throughout games, and sometimes swings just look a little awkward. It's not perfect. In an ideal world, that there's plenty of season left to shut him down and get him fully healthy until this team needs him. They need him right now, which is the hard problem that there is. But there's other bodies on this Phillies team that are also stepping up. Doing a highlight Kyle Schwarber as well, a guy who continues to impress. Very exciting stuff there. He also picked up a little bit of a knock that he was a late scratch from game 3 of that series after suffering an elbow injury in game 2. Seemed like he kind of just twisted things up, diving back to the bag. Not something that is a huge concern there. Alec Boehm still remaining out with injury, which is something the Phillies could use to step up. But in the meantime, there are these other guys that are producing. The Weston Wilsons of the world. Cody Clemens absolutely is changing his MLB future in the way that he is currently playing for this team. That is impossible with the level that he's playing at, that you can't have him on the playoff roster. You have to find a way to keep this guy on the team, and shout out to Cody for making the most of his opportunities. While it's not great that you see these injuries throughout the team, it is cool that there's other bodies that are stepping up and that are being competitive to keep this team winning. Once again, let's not brush over how impressive it is to be 30 games above 500 with still like a roughly a month of the season, a little less than a month of a season still to go here. So obviously, this is the frustrating part, and I think people hold this against teams and the Phillies specifically in this category far too often. But you can't win a World Series in June. You can't win a World Series in July. You got to wait until the time comes, and it is nearly here for this team. So while there have been some ups and downs through this season, and far more ups than downs, even though that is not always the way that it's talked about, this team looks like it could be peaking at the right time. That there was the little pitfall in the middle of the season, but it does feel like they're getting back to things. Still got to get the healthy bodies and get this team back to the best they can possibly be. But I do think the vibes and the production of this Phillies team are about as solid or as high level as I've felt about this team since the season did begin early on, when they were performing really strong out of the gates. So let me know if you guys are on the same page as me. What did that scrap mean to you guys, as far as was that something that changed the vibe? Because it did fire me up seeing the way that this team reacted for each other. And I do think that has helped contribute to the level of play that we're seeing on the field. So let me know if you guys are on the same page as me. Drop your predictions for the remainder of season, and make sure you are smashing that subscribe button if you have not already. Once again, just 15% of you guys tuning in the videos have subscribed this far. We want to get this Phillies Digest family above 1,000 before Red October begins. So hit that, smash that subscribe button, drop a like, listen to some dancing on my own, and I'll be talking with you next time. Peace.